You've taken every correct step, from crafting vision boards and affirmations to giving it your all. Yet your goals still feel just beyond reach. Could it be that effort pushes them further? That what we pursue runs from us, but what we embody draws near? This isn't mere theory. It's grounded in quantum principles. Buddhism teaches the same. Here's the irony. Manifesting is so straightforward that the mind refuses to accept it. Most people fail because the ego longs for complication, while the universe only responds to clarity. So ask yourself, are you really aligned or just pretending? Because today, you'll learn that true change comes not from doing more, but from being in sync. Transformation isn't about effort. It's about releasing resistance, staying grounded in the present, and radiating natural attraction. If you remember one message from this, let it be this. What is destined for you doesn't need to be chased. Stick around. The final insight might completely shift how you manifest. Stop forcing. Begin to receive. We've been conditioned to believe that more effort, more wanting, and endless pursuit are the keys to our dreams. But in truth, manifestation is easy. So easy that most overlook it. The ego fears simplicity, and we've been misled to believe that only through suffering comes success. But the strongest energy doesn't come from force. It comes from inner harmony, from inner let go of control. Embrace stillness. The universe doesn't respond to noise. It listens to resonance. This is why monks meditate in silence, not shouting their wants to the sky. They understand. A quiet, open heart receives far more than a mind filled with demands. Just like a clenched fist in water stays dry within. When your hand is open, it becomes a channel like a riverbed. To bring forth abundance, peace, love, and clarity, start by releasing your grip. In deep Buddhist philosophy, letting go isn't seen as weakness, it's true insight. The tighter we hold on to life, the more it escapes us. The Buddha never guaranteed wealth, but he did offer liberation. And that liberation starts the moment we stop trying to command every wave and instead choose to float with them. Breathe deeply. You didn't command the breath, yet it arrived. What if the rest of life could be this effortless? We're often told that desire shapes our future, but when longing lacks awareness, it becomes frantic. And frantic energy is just noise, internal chaos that keeps us from noticing the present. To manifest isn't to shout louder, it's to listen more closely. What inner reality are you living in daily? If your inner world is shaped by scarcity, what message are you actually putting out? Because creating reality isn't only seeing it in your mind, but feeling it in your being. It's about your energetic state, not your performance. Detachment, in Buddhist wisdom, is the root to real strength. Detachment doesn't mean not caring. It means not grasping. To desire something without clinging to it, that is true freedom. To want love without pleading. To aim for success without crumbling during the wait. To seek clarity while still walking calmly in the fog. Here lies the paradox. The less you push, the more life flows toward you. The universe doesn't react to chaos. It tunes into harmony. Take a moment to reflect. What are you trying to force right now that might blossom on its own? What self-image are you chasing through control instead of becoming through letting go? Ask yourself, are you living your desires or simply performing them? Because the universe isn't moved by empty declarations. The universe answers to who you're being, not just what you're asking. Manifestation isn't so much about requesting as it is about making room for what wants to arrive. Letting go isn't quitting. It's handing over your obsession with control, timing, and micromanagement. Release the mental chatter. Become the quiet. Let the river move you. Perhaps the future you're after isn't meant to be forced into existence, but embraced when it flows to you. It could be that what you truly want appears only when you stop interrupting its natural course. Don't forget, a steady mind, led by gentle thoughts, is the true key to effortless creation. Not because you gained power, but because you finally stepped out of your own way and let your inner strength lead. 2 words: release attachment, receive all. We've been taught that wanting something badly increases our chances, but in reality, the stronger the craving, the more it escapes us. We pursue, we hold tight, and in doing so, we transform desire into suffering. Buddhism offers a powerful paradox. Let go of needing, and everything flows toward you. It feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? But here's the wisdom. The person who no longer clings becomes naturally magnetic. It's not about turning away from life, but from the illusion that fulfillment can be controlled. True manifestation arises not from craving more, but from needing less. That's why it remains misunderstood by many. We assume the universe rewards longing, but longing blurs our vision. Only hands free of grasping can truly receive. There's a story of a tree caught in a storm. The proud, stiff ones snapped. But the tree that bent, that yielded, stood firm through the storm. That flexible tree is you, and that's what true desire looks like. You believe holding on tightly will prevent it from slipping away. But perhaps it's your attachment that's stirring the chaos. Maybe letting go isn't defeat, it's maturity. When we release our grip on how things must turn out, the energy around us changes. When we stop sending out signals of scarcity, we begin to emit trust, and trust is powerfully attractive. The universe answers calm, not desperation. Reflect on the last time you truly surrendered. Maybe it was when you stopped reaching out, and someone came back. Or when you released your worry over finances, and an opportunity arrived. Was it chance or the rhythm of the universe? The ego craves control, but the soul seeks harmony. Can you desire deeply without believing it defines your wholeness? That's the path of balance. This is how you manifest with detachment. Close your eyes and envision your deepest wish, whether it's success, love, healing, or serenity. Now picture it like a balloon in your hand. Gently release it. Let it rise. Let the universe take it from here. If it's yours, it knows how to return. Letting go doesn't mean rejection. It means liberation. Suffering isn't rooted in desire itself, but in the belief that we're incomplete without fulfilling it. Buddhism doesn't ask you to stop dreaming. It asks you to stop chasing with desperation. The Buddha left behind a palace not to flee wealth, but to master true inner richness. He taught that joy comes not from getting what we lack, but in treasuring what we already have. So, what are you holding on to right now? What if the real magic lies in loosening your grip? You don't force a flower to bloom, you remove what's blocking the light. That's what surrender does. It doesn't erase your desire. It clears away the fear that it won't come true. And that's when life finally starts to respond. That's when the meaningful coincidences begin to show up. Not because you pleaded, but because you aligned with them naturally. Peace becomes the beacon. Having no urgent need is the silent call. And abundance always hears that call. Thoughts aren't commands. They're just reverberations. You keep waking up to the same worries, rehashing the same insecurities and limitations. Yet, you're surprised that your reality doesn't change. The unsettling truth is, most of our thoughts are echoes, leftovers from outdated beliefs, early life imprints, and cultural patterns. What we call imagination is often just memory resurfacing. Like a mirror doesn't create a face, it only reflects what's already there. Most of our thinking mirrors who we've been, not who we could become. So ask yourself, are your thoughts building your future or just replaying your past? In Buddhism, the mind is treated as a servant, not a ruler. A confused servant repeats what it knows. That's why monks observe thoughts without reacting, year after year. They understand that not all thoughts are facts. Some are just mental habits. Some are hidden fears wearing the mask of logic. Others come from outdated versions of you that no longer reflect who you are becoming. Unless you challenge your inner dialogue, you'll mistake noise for direction. Listening to an old station means hearing old songs. But true manifestation means tuning into a new frequency, not just amplifying the old one. Try this. Close your eyes and let a thought arise. Instead of engaging with it, simply watch it float past like a drifting cloud. You'll realize the mind never stops talking, but you don't always have to respond. Manifestation isn't blocked by lack of positivity, but by mistaking recycled thoughts for sacred guidance. The version of you that's thinking right now might just be a reflection of who you used to be, not who you truly are, and definitely not who you're becoming. Once you understand that thoughts are merely possibilities, not rules, something shifts. You begin to choose your vibration. You step into the role of creator instead of passive receiver. That's when true manifestation unfolds. You no longer act from habit or past experiences. You begin to live fully in the now. Presence opens the door. With presence, your mind becomes a servant, not your master. You think on purpose, not from fear. So when a thought says, "It's too late," or "You're not enough," pause and ask, is this guiding me or just replaying an old script? Presence, pure, grounded awareness, gives rise to new direction. You don't have to silence every thought. You just have to stop confusing them with truth. The thoughts that feel light, aligned, and spacious are the ones to follow. The rest? Let them float on. Your life isn't shaped by the loudest thought, but by the quiet truth you decide to trust. Fourth principle. Desire is like fire. Awareness is the space that surrounds it. There's a deep strength in simply noticing without reacting. No labeling, no resistance, just watching. Normally, when we want something, we feed it. We chase it. We build everything around it. But Buddhism shows another way. Pause and witness. Desire may flicker and demand your focus, but it can't survive without your attention. It flares up, but awareness is still. Awareness witnesses all but remains untouched. It doesn't crave. It simply sees. That's the quiet secret. You don't need to destroy your desires to be free. You don't need to extinguish your desires. You just need to hold them gently within your awareness. A candle's flame may flicker wildly, but it can never burn the vast night sky. So ask yourself, what changes when you stop chasing every longing and instead sit with it? At first, your mind will resist. Your body might tense. The flame grows. But if you stay still and breathe, something profound begins. The desire begins to soften, not because you forced it to leave, but because you truly saw it, without judgment, without resistance. And in that clarity, something powerful is revealed. You are not the flame. You are the sky it moves within. There's a story of a monk who remained unmoved through storms of temptation. People tempted him with riches and praise. But he didn't push away his cravings. He didn't fight them. He simply watched as they rose and fell like ocean waves. When asked how he stayed so serene, he answered, "I didn't deny the flame. I just remembered I wasn't it." That's the essence of awareness. Not suppression or resistance, but pure spacious witnessing. So spacious, even the loudest need fades into a quiet hum. Now turn to your own desires, whether it's for recognition, love, success, or escape. What if instead of feeding them, you simply sat with them? Let them exist. Let them speak. Let them ache if they must. But don't act on them. Don't resist them either. Just breathe. With time, you'll see. Your desire is not your identity. It's a passing guest. And like all guests, it leaves when not entertained. This is why so many people fail at manifestation. They try to create from the intensity of craving. But desire burns. It exhausts. Real creation comes from the silence behind desire, from stillness, from mindful awareness. This is where clarity begins. This is where your signal becomes undistorted. The universe doesn't respond to frantic pleas. It responds to calm certainty. So reflect. What longing are you finally ready to watch dissolve? Maybe it's the thirst for approval, the anxiety of falling behind, or the constant pressure to become someone else. Let that burn away. Stay rooted. In that inner stillness, a greater strength awakens. Not a strength to grab more, but to remember your wholeness. And here's a truth few people truly grasp. Desire is loud, but awareness is quiet, and only one of them speaks truth. The rest fades eventually. 5. True suffering begins the moment acceptance ends. You've been told manifestation is about always wanting more. More success, more clarity, more peace. But here's what's rarely said. Manifestation isn't born from desire, but from acceptance. Not passive surrender, but empowered acknowledgement. Suffering doesn't come from life's flaws, but from our resistance to them. We try to attract new realities while rejecting the present one. But how can life offer more if you haven't fully embraced what it already gave you? Imagine a river meeting a rock. It doesn't resist. It doesn't argue. It simply flows around, soft yet unstoppable. To resist is to stall, but acceptance is motion. Not because it changes the situation, but because it releases your energy from fighting what is. Consider, which part of your life are you still pushing against? A dream that hasn't launched, a relationship that dissolved, or a version of yourself that no longer fits? What might shift if you whispered, "This moment is enough. I am enough"? When you say, "I hate this," you give your energy to resistance. When you say, "This too is part of the path," you release control. That's when true creation begins, not born from struggle, but from serenity. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply. Whisper, "This moment is enough. I am enough." What stirs within you? Maybe pain? Maybe discomfort. Let it rise. Don't run from what you feel. Let it move through you, like water flowing past a stone. This is the essence of manifestation. Before reaching for what's next, fully receive what already is. Because only when you align with the now does your signal become powerful, consistent, magnetic. The universe doesn't answer chaos. It responds to clarity. A young man once visited a Zen master, desperate for change. "I read every book. I visualized daily. But nothing changes," he said. The master poured tea until the cup overflowed. "It's spilling!" the man shouted. The master nodded. "Exactly. You must empty your cup, accept what is, before you can receive what comes next." That's not just him, that's all of us. Manifestation in its nature is simple. What makes it feel difficult is our unwillingness to accept. So ask yourself honestly, what haven't you let in? A failure, a fear, a former self you've disowned? Look at it. Honor it. Let it be. Because once you stop resisting, you begin to flow. You begin creating not from emptiness, but from love. Reality constantly reflects your self-identity. It's like planting an apple seed and expecting to harvest mangoes. That's the paradox of trying to manifest from a mindset rooted in fear, scarcity, or self-doubt. A tree can't produce fruit that doesn't match its seed. Your beliefs, your internal narrative, your subconscious self, that's the seed. Who is the version of yourself you keep stepping into each morning just because it feels comfortable, even if it's not who you truly are? Try this exercise. Write down every belief you hold about yourself. "I lack discipline. I'm always stressed. I never follow through." Get it all out. Then burn that paper. Watch it dissolve into ash. These aren't truths. They're habits. And habits can be rewritten. Letting go in that way might seem symbolic, but it holds real power. You're not erasing what happened. You're releasing your attachment to it. You're declaring, "I am not the sum of my past. I am the potential I carry." A woman once told her teacher, "I want to be free, but I always find a way to ruin it." The teacher asked, "Who do you become when you finally feel free?" She paused, then admitted, "I don't know. I've never known that version of myself," she said. He replied with a smile, "Then be her now. Don't wait for safety. Don't wait for someday. Step into her today." That's the real teaching. You have to embody the outcome before it arrives. Because life doesn't respond to what you wish. It reflects who you are. So the next time you think, "I want this," pause and ask, who must I become to welcome this? Not an idealized future self, but the authentic you underneath all the roles and armor. Strip away the false layers. Step out and live in alignment. Manifestation isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about becoming the version of you that aligns with them. Here's the unfiltered truth. If your life feels like a rerun, it's because your identity hasn't evolved. Shift that, and the entire landscape of your world will transform. 7. The more still you become, the more clearly life reveals itself. You've been seeking, strategizing, striving, yet answers keep slipping away. Every book, every podcast, every method just adds to the mental clutter. But here's a deeper knowing you may have always sensed. The biggest breakthroughs don't arrive while you're chasing. Breakthroughs arrive not in motion, but in stillness. The quieter you become, the clearer life becomes, not louder in sound, but sharper in insight. The wisdom you seek isn't outside of you. It's always been inside. But you've been too noisy to notice. Think of a calm lake. When it's agitated, it reflects nothing. But when the surface is calm, even the clouds above are mirrored in its stillness. Your mind works the same way. Each anxious thought, every desperate attempt to solve everything stirs it into chaos. That's why your desires seem distant. They're not far, but your mind is too stormy to notice them arriving. Silence uncovers what the noise conceals. You haven't lost direction. You've just lost the quiet needed to hear it. In Buddhism, insight isn't something to achieve. It arises in stillness through being, not doing. But make no mistake, silence isn't weakness. It's not nothingness. It's a space where truth can echo and intuition can speak. That space allows life to respond. And here's the irony. The harder you chase, the more elusive the answers become. But when you pause, they start to surface. Why do solutions only come when you stop searching? Because when the mind releases its grip, the soul steps forward. Try this today. Sit quietly for just 3 minutes. No intentions, no mental effort, just stillness. Let go of grasping. Let go of resisting. Watch your thoughts float by like clouds across a vast sky, without judgment. And in that space, something subtle begins to unfold. Maybe not words, but a deep feeling, a quiet knowing, a direction that comes not from thought, but from presence. That's the quiet voice beneath the noise, the one that's been gently steering you all along. A monk once asked his master, "Why can't I ever hear divine wisdom?" The teacher took him to a river. They stood in silence for hours. Eventually, the monk grew restless and asked, "What am I supposed to hear?" The teacher replied, "Exactly. You're still trying to listen through impatience. This story isn't about a river. It's a reflection of you. Your constant urge to solve and control drowns out the quieter wisdom already inside. Until that inner pressure softens, the journey of manifestation will feel more like decoding a riddle than following a flow. So ask yourself, what truth might already be present if you just listened more quietly? What area of your life is asking for your stillness, not another plan? Manifestation isn't about pushing the universe to cooperate. It's about becoming so deeply attuned to truth that the world begins to mirror your alignment without effort. The noise insists you're behind. But in the silence, you'll remember, you've always been whole. Clarity doesn't arrive with volume. It waits patiently in stillness. To hear what life's been whispering, pause, be still, and truly listen. That stillness is not delay. It's your beginning. 8. Release expectations. Embrace appreciation. Often, your first waking thought is burdened with what hasn't happened yet. What should be different? The reply that didn't come, the success that hasn't arrived. Your mind starts chasing clarity, chasing evidence, chasing more. But here's a perspective that can change everything. What if, instead of expecting more, you simply appreciated what already is? Expectation tightens your grip, creates resistance. Appreciation, on the other hand, opens you up, expands your energy. The more you cling, the less flows. But manifestation doesn't respond to force. It responds to openness. Suffering doesn't stem from reality itself. It comes from our resistance to how reality unfolds. Expectation is that soft inner plea whispering, if only they saw you. If only things moved faster. If only life went your way. But even quiet craving builds invisible walls. And manifestation cannot pass through tension. Life, like a flower, doesn't bloom under pressure. It blossoms in presence. It's not more begging that brings fulfillment. It's reverence for what already exists. Appreciation turns the present into a portal for miracles. So pause and reflect. What are you hoping for that you could instead appreciate right now? Are you relying on someone to change, or on future results to validate you? Because every time you wait for peace to come later, you're pushing your power further away. The truth is, alignment can't be forced. It must be allowed. And the way in is always gratitude. Gratitude is the highest signal you can send to the universe, not because it changes your circumstances, but because it changes you in the act of receiving. Practice this today. Identify 3 overlooked blessings. Don't stop at surface gratitude. Notice the subtle wonders. The breath that moves through you without command. The sunrise that arrived without invitation. Now, don't just think about them. Feel them. Let the warmth settle in your body. That feeling is alignment. That's what the universe responds to. Not your requests, but your energy. And there's no frequency more powerful than appreciation. There's a Zen tale of a monk who walked many miles each day just to drink from a sacred spring. When asked why, he said, "Because after the journey, the water feels like a blessing." What if this is how we're meant to experience life? Not by chasing more, but by deeply feeling what's already here. So here's something to ponder. Could your expectations be blocking the very blessings you've been calling in? Maybe what you've longed for is already near, just unseen, unnoticed, or unwelcomed. The irony? When you let go of expecting, your eyes begin to open, and what you truly see, you can finally align with. Manifestation isn't about steering outcomes with force. It's about tuning yourself to the energy that naturally draws them in. Expectation restricts that flow. Gratitude opens it wide. If you want life to astonish you, begin by being moved by the everyday. That's when the extraordinary shows up. The clearest message you can send to the universe isn't, "I need more," but "Thank you. I already have enough." That's when the reply comes. Here's more. Stop obsessing over the how. Focus on the now. You keep asking, how will it happen? How do I get there faster? How do I become my best self? But that word, how, often becomes your biggest obstacle. It becomes a loop, a mental labyrinth, a disguise of logic that keeps you stuck. Buddhism reminds us, the path cannot be known until you begin to walk it. Yet we wait, for certainty, for perfect clarity, for the whole map. And while we wait, the present moment quietly slips by. Manifestation doesn't live in thought, It lives in presence, in movement, in your next brave step. We've been conditioned to chase perfect plans, to draft 5-year strategies, to predict every detail before beginning. But the truth is, a lantern doesn't show you the entire journey. It simply lights up your next step. And that's always been enough. Many people remain stuck not because they're idle, but because they're trapped in their heads, overthinking, overplanning, overanalyzing. Yet the universe doesn't respond to mental noise. It responds to your frequency. Clarity isn't a prerequisite for action. It's the result of it. You won't find the path by gazing upward. You'll find it when your feet start moving. Think back. How many times have you been frozen by the need to have everything figured out first? Waiting for the right moment, the perfect sign, the ideal alignment. But that craving for certainty is often just fear in disguise. Perfectionism masked as wisdom. Meanwhile, life gently urges you, just take that step. Maybe it's that honest talk you've been dodging, a pattern you know you need to break, or a message your heart has been nudging you to send. Because when you move, you emit energy, and energy in motion becomes magnetic. It tells the universe, I'm not just thinking about change, I'm living it. That spark of movement builds momentum. It unfolds unseen paths. Doors open, not because you forced them, but because you moved. There's an old Zen tale of a monk who crossed a dense forest filled with fog every morning. When asked how he always found his way, he answered, I never search for the end. I simply place my foot where the path appears. That is the way, not by knowing, but by trusting. Not through certainty, but by feeling your way forward and letting life do the rest. So take a moment and reflect. Where in your life are you still waiting for clarity before moving? What might shift if you embraced the moment instead? What simple action are you postponing because you want the full plan? Let it go. Begin now. What if it's the very act of chasing that's keeping you from receiving? Buddhist teachings suggest that true manifestation arises the moment we stop grasping. The endless pursuit creates a cycle, like waves racing toward the shore, unaware they've always belonged to the sea. You've never been separate. You've always been complete. But the mind spins tales of lack and longing, making you forget. This constant striving creates imaginary distance between who you are and what you desire. But authentic manifestation doesn't arise from a place of striving. It flows naturally from a state of being. Picture yourself on a serene beach. The waves don't try to arrive. They already belong. Just like that, you're not apart from what you seek. You are already the source of it. Here lies the paradox. Only when you stop trying so hard to control, life begins to unfold with ease. The universe responds not to force, but to surrender. Try this. Close your eyes and visualize yourself exactly as you are, whole, worthy, complete, without needing to fix or upgrade anything. Feel into the truth of your completeness. This isn't giving up. It's awakening to your essence, beyond striving and self-improvement. When you hold this inner knowing, manifestation becomes less like reaching and more like blooming. Ask yourself, what are you searching for that you already possess? Is it confidence, peace, love, or success? These aren't far-off achievements. They are intrinsic parts of you, waiting not to be earned, but to be seen. The distance you feel, it's just a narrative your mind is spinning, one born from fear and scarcity. And when you stop feeding that narrative with constant seeking, it loses its grip. Many stay trapped in the search because it feels like progress. But busyness isn't the same as alignment. Think of the ambitious soul, burdened by society's insistence to always achieve more, to constantly climb higher. They hustle day and night, planning, pushing, striving, yet feel like they're running in place. What if the real shift doesn't come from doing more, but from stepping out of the chase entirely and just being? When you align with presence, manifestation no longer feels like a battle. It becomes a dance. You don't need to wait for everything to be perfect. The moment you stop grasping and start trusting, manifestation begins. Trust that what you long for already exists within you. Let go of the restless chase and watch life soften around you. Ask yourself, what desire are you pursuing today that might already be a part of who you are? When you embrace this truth, manifestation stops being mysterious. It becomes natural. Nothing in your life will truly shift until you surrender. You cling to your goals as if holding on tighter will draw them closer. But what if the very act of clinging is what's keeping them away? Buddhism reminds us with piercing clarity. Transformation only begins when we loosen our grip. Gripping tightly doesn't safeguard your dreams. It cages them. Imagine a bird trying to fly while clutching a branch. No matter how strong its wings, it will never rise until it lets go. The same is true for you. Letting go isn't failure. It's alignment. It's choosing to float with life instead of fighting the current. Think back to the last time you carried something heavy for too long. Your shoulders ached, your steps slowed. Now imagine setting it down. Suddenly, you move freely, lightly. That ease doesn't come from acquiring anything, it comes from releasing what you never needed to carry in the first place. It invites you to set down the weight you've been carrying. Reflect on times when you held tightly to expectations, plans, or emotions until they disrupted your inner calm. How many times have you felt trapped because you couldn't relinquish control? Insisting on how things must go often stops life from unfolding naturally. Life doesn't move where there is tension. It flows through the openness you allow when you let go. Try this now. Close your eyes and picture yourself dropping a heavy load from your back. Feel the release, the space to breathe, move, and evolve. What unnecessary burdens are weighing you down? Old beliefs, resentments, expectations. The journey toward the life you envision begins by letting go of what restricts you, even if it feels strange or hard. Be honest with yourself. What emotional loads are you still holding that you might release today? Is it the pressure to constantly prove yourself? The anxiety of not succeeding? Or perhaps a story you've told yourself about who you should be? Letting go of these opens the door to new opportunities. Like a bird releasing a branch, you free your wings to rise to greater heights. For those navigating career uncertainty, shifts in identity, or emotional changes, this idea can be transformative. It teaches that real progress isn't about exerting more effort, fixing flaws, or pushing through. It's about letting go of what weighs you down. This clarity is often missed because it requires bravery and trust. In a culture driven by control and constant striving, the concept of release can seem illogical. Yet true mastery starts when you yield, not from weakness, but from recognizing that life's strength flows through surrender. You don't attract what you want by holding tight, but by making space, by opening your heart and mind to what's ready to arrive. Picture your life with less weight, your thoughts more at ease, and your energy flowing freely. That is the reward of release. When you let go of what burdens you, you naturally align with the smooth rhythm of manifestation. So ask yourself, what are you still clinging to? And what doors might open if you simply chose to release it? Bonus wisdom. Allow life to astonish you. You attempt to script every move, detailing every plan to control the future. Yet life, in its infinite wisdom, speaks in a dialect far beyond your plans, the language of spontaneity. As Buddhist philosophy teaches, control creates limits, while surrender invites expansion. Visualize your life as a sealed box, tight, closed off, unable to receive the unexpected treasures the universe wants to give. When you cling to control, scripting each moment in your head, you unintentionally shut yourself off from the blessings that come without warning. Reflect on the last surprise life handed you. A random meeting, a sudden opening, or an unexpected twist. Did it shift your perspective, your mood, or even your direction? Often, the very things we resist are the ones meant to liberate us. The most powerful manifestations arise not through effort or force, but through receptivity, through being open to the unfamiliar. This isn't recklessness. It's deep faith. Faith that even when you don't understand the path, the universe is working in your favor. Try it now. Breathe deeply and softly say, I welcome the unknown. Let life unfold without resistance. Notice how your body softens as tension melts away. What possibilities arise when you stop anticipating and begin allowing. The urge to control fades, and in its place comes clarity, creativity, and unexpected joy. By giving up the need to manage every detail, you invite miracles into your life. Take a moment to reflect on your current challenges. Perhaps you're facing a turning point in your career, craving clarity, or navigating identity changes that leave you feeling ungrounded. You might feel drained from constantly trying to control every aspect of your life. But what if the real way forward isn't about pushing more? It's about easing your grip and embracing trust. Letting go brings you into alignment with a deeper current. It's a current that is wise, imaginative, and full of surprises. The universe delights in catching us off guard, because in doing so, it disrupts the habits of our conditioned thinking. Surprises spark spontaneity, invite fresh insights, and help us grow in ways we never thought possible. Just like a flower unfolds under the sunlight without effort, your life expands when you stop trying to force and begin to simply receive. This idea reflects the Zen teaching that true surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. A bold willingness to accept what is. Picture starting your mornings with wonder, not worry, with an open heart rather than a mind clinging to fixed outcomes. How would that transform your energy? How would it affect the way your dreams come to life? When you welcome life's surprises, manifestation becomes a dance, not a struggle. More resonance, less resistance. So today, Take a moment to ask yourself, what areas of life are you still clinging to? What if you unlatched the lock, leaned into trust, and let life take the lead? That decision might reshape your entire journey. Manifestation is not complicated. It asks for just one thing: your willingness to surrender, to stay open, and to receive what the universe is ready to give you now. Here's a brief recap of the principles. Stop forcing. Begin allowing. Real manifestation doesn't emerge from control or pressure. It blooms when you make space for life to unfold naturally. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. Allowing isn't being passive. It's a deep trust in the rhythm of life. Letting go opens doors. Force only keeps them closed. Desire nothing, and everything flows in. When you stop clinging to specific results, you open a space of calm and understanding. The more you grasp, the more you block what you seek. But when you release, your energy softens and you naturally attract what aligns with you. You shift from chasing to receiving. Thoughts are not commands. They're just echoes from old habits. Most thoughts are not fresh. They're repetitions from your history. If you treat them as absolute truths, you end up reliving the same patterns. Manifestation begins when you become the observer, not the follower, of your thoughts. Let them pass by without handing over the steering wheel. Desire is like a spark. Awareness is the space that keeps it from turning into a wildfire. True transformation takes root in the soil of awareness. When you witness a desire without labeling or judging it, its power diminishes. Your strength lies in seeing clearly, not in obsessing. Suffering starts when acceptance stops. Manifestation doesn't mean escaping the now. It begins with embracing it fully. Resistance is the barrier to peace and the anchor that slows growth. When you allow yourself to be exactly where you are, clarity begins to emerge. Your identity shapes the life you experience. You don't manifest based on wants, but from the version of yourself you believe to be real. If that self is built on lack, no outer success will ever satisfy. Change how you see yourself, and your reality will follow. The quieter you become inside, the clearer life's messages come through. When your mind is noisy and filled with distractions, your inner wisdom is drowned out. Silence is where truth finds space to speak. Often, the answers come not from striving, but from listening. Stillness sharpens your insight. Drop expectations. Embrace gratitude. Expectation breeds tension. Appreciation opens your heart. Gratitude is the gateway to receiving beyond your wildest expectations. The more you express thanks, the more you sync with harmony and flow. Appreciation draws abundance in. Let go of needing to know how it will all work. Just root yourself in the now. Overanalyzing holds you back. Life reveals itself gradually, not all at once. Stay present, and your way forward becomes clear. A single moment of deep presence has more power than endless planning. The journey of manifestation begins when the chase ends. Constant seeking is a sign of being disconnected. The harder you search, the more you overlook your inherent wholeness. Real magnetism starts the moment you stop looking outward and reconnect with your inner truth. You're not broken. You're beautifully complex. Transformation doesn't begin until you release. Holding on to past hurt, control, or expectations halts your growth. Letting go is where progress starts. Releasing isn't giving up. It's seeing clearly and choosing courage. When you release, you make room for what is truly yours. Let life surprise you instead of limiting it to what you already know. By surrendering control, you open yourself to unexpected joy, growth, and experiences far beyond your current vision. The unknown holds the magic. Simplicity is the doorway often overlooked. We miss life's deepest wisdom because it hides in what feels too simple. But simplicity is the core of real understanding. No need to overcomplicate. Just show up with presence. Peace takes root where striving ends. We spend so much of life chasing, planning, and hoping, thinking that more effort means more results. But manifestation isn't about struggle. It's about being in alignment. It's not about fixing flaws, but realizing you're already whole. As Buddhism teaches, when you stop resisting life, life starts flowing in your favor. The deepest truths are often the simplest. You don't need to master manifestation. You simply need to stop blocking it. You're not outside the flow of life. You are woven into it. The tighter you hold on, the more discomfort you feel. But once you release, you begin to draw in not just what you want, but what aligns with your readiness. These are not abstract ideas. They're practical truths for freedom. As soon as you release the constant analyzing, doubting, and reaching, clarity breaks through like sunlight parting the clouds. At that point, you stop searching for peace and begin embodying it. So pause and breathe. Return to the present. You don't need the entire roadmap, just the courage to take the next step. Let go of control. Begin to place your trust in life and witness what unfolds when you stop trying to manipulate what's already moving toward you. Once you recognize that nothing is missing, you begin to feel a sense of wholeness. Let this message stay with you. Simplicity isn't shallow. It's the deepest form of wisdom. You've been taught that more effort, more desires, more hustle leads to success. But the most grounded and empowering manifestation emerges from less striving, less wanting, more presence, and deeper trust. Come back to the basics. Stay present. Let life meet you.